Hey guys, it is Michelle and I am here with another Top 5 Wednesday video. Top 5 Wednesday is the brainchild of Ginger Reads Laney, so I will link her channel and I will link the GoodReads group for Top 5 Wednesday if you're interested in joining. I will link all that below. Number 5 on my list would probably help if I told you the topic. The topic this week is books that are written from multiple points of view, and Ginger was smart to point out that she means more than 2 points of view in this. So at number 5 on my list is Evidence of Things Not Seen by Lindsay Lane. This was a book I got from NetGalley as a digital advanced reader's copy, and of course from the publisher as well. I absolutely loved it. It tells the story of Tommy Smith. He is a high school student who has Asperger's, so his social skills are almost non-existent. He's obsessed with particle physics, and all of a sudden he goes missing. So the chapters of the book are the police interviewing people who knew Tommy, although no one knows him very well, everyone knew of him. So it's interesting the perspective that you get from the police talking to various people in the town, and none of them have 2 chapters, and I was just amazed at Lindsay Lane's ability to get me invested in these characters when their stories were, they were only involved in the story for 1 chapter. So bravo to her, and I do believe I saw this book available on Book Outlet recently, so if it's still there, you might be able to snag a bargain. Next up is number 4, Emily St. John's Station 11. This book was all over BookTube recently, and I decided to go ahead and pick it up. It is about an apocalypse wherein a disease kills about 99% of humans, and some of the stories are from pre-apocalyptic times, some are during the apocalypse, and some are post-apocalyptic. There's a nice blend of all of those. I would say there are probably 3 main points of view that you follow. I don't remember exactly, but I know it's at least 3, and it was just a neat blend, and the story just came together so well, and her writing was just wonderful. The storytelling was amazing, and I can see a couple spots in here where there could be like a companion or even a sequel novel. So I'm kind of secretly keeping my fingers crossed on that. The third one on my list is actually a fantasy series by Peter V. Brett, and it is called The Demon Cycle. Depending where you live, the first book may be called The Painted Man or The Warded Man. In the United States, it's called The Warded Man. I understand in some countries it's called The Painted Man. I absolutely adore this fantasy. There are 4 books released so far and a few novellas as well. The premise of the story didn't really hook me, but once I started reading, oh my gosh, the world building, the characters, just phenomenal. In this world, there are demons that are called Corlings, and they manifest at night, and their goal is to kill all of the humans. And for some reason, over time, the humans have kind of stopped fighting back, and their numbers are really dwindling, while the numbers of the Corlings are swelling. And so in the first book, you get perspectives of 3 main characters who all in their youth were involved in demon attacks and somehow survived. So they are kind of like starting, wondering why humans aren't fighting back and trying to get the humans organized into fighting back. And as the series progresses, it adds even more perspectives, and they're all so wonderful and also unique, and his writing is just superb in my opinion. So he is definitely one of my favorite authors, and this is definitely one of my favorite fantasy series. Number 2 on my list is the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, which I read earlier this year thanks to the Year of Cosmere read-along group. This trilogy was just amazing. The world building, the magic system, but you follow many, many points of view, and the ending on this just really, there's so much to love about this. It's kind of like a sandbox where you're given kind of like the rules of the magic system and the rules of who knows who and how things work. And so he kind of leaves like these little breadcrumbs, and you try to put things together and kind of guess what's going to happen. And sometimes you're right and sometimes you're way off. But it is so much fun. It's almost like a sandbox. It is a phenomenal series, and the points of view are all just super. If you've ever thought about reading Mistborn and you've put it off, go ahead and read it. You will not regret it. I promise you. All right, and number 1 on my list is a book that I just picked up on a whim at a brick and mortar Barnes & Noble store one day, and it's How It Went Down by Kekla McGoon. And in this before this book starts out, or as it's starting out, a young inner city youth named Tariq has been shot and killed by an older white man in the neighborhood. And as you're trying to figure out what happened, what kind of a kid was Tariq, you're getting perspective from gang members that are in the area, from his friends from school, from his younger sister, his mother, his grandmother, all kinds of people. There is even kind of a Jesse James type character that's like a political, religious type leader standing up for civil rights. And I absolutely adored this book, and it just seems so relevant to today's news topics with all of the, Black Lives Matter and all of that. So I loved how this made it so difficult to get really illustrated how difficult it is to get a complete picture of someone. You as the reader do get a complete picture of Tariq by the end, but most of the people who are providing that information don't have like an overall picture of his personality, or at least a very good one. So loved this. It seems so relevant, and it is number 1 on my top 5 Wednesday list. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading.